So let me start with an introduction of WITIA, and just to welcome all our listeners, everyone who has joined the webinar. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation and for joining us. So good afternoon and welcome again. The webinar is titled Building Financial Resilience for Women in Technology. My name is Joyce Modoni Moshiri, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Women in Technology and Innovation Africa. And I'm honored to be your moderator for this insightful session. Together in the webinar is our founder, Eunice Polman. We also have Rosebella Damango, who is one of our directors, and Betty, who is also present, who heads our communication. Thank you all for joining and making this possible. So before we dive into our discussion, allow me to introduce who WITIA is and the organization behind this event. So we are a dynamic platform dedicated to empowering women in technology and innovation across Africa by providing access to education, mentorship, professional development, and opportunities for collaboration. Our mission is to bridge the gender gap in STEM, support women-led technology initiatives, and to drive digital transformation through leadership and financial empowerment. One of our key focus areas is ensuring that women in tech not only excel in their careers and businesses, but also achieve financial independence and security. And this is why today's discussion is so important. Financial resilience is not just about wealth creation. It's about equipping women with the knowledge, tools, and strategies to navigate economic challenges, making informed investment decisions, and building sustainable financial futures. So we are thrilled to have an amazing speaker today, Mr. Pius Moshiri, who will share his expertise on financial planning, investment strategies, and wealth creation, which are tailored for women in the tech space. I want to thank you all again for joining us, and we encourage you to engage and ask questions and take full advantage of this opportunity to learn and to grow. So as we proceed with the program, we'll have a 40-minute session for the speaker, and then we will have about a 15-minute session for question and answer session. And I would like to ask that each of you put in the chat your questions, and then we will review them at the end of the speaker's session. I'd also like to take this moment now to introduce our speaker. Pius Moshiri is the CEO and Managing Director of Nabo Capital, a premier investment firm that specializes in African markets. With over 15 years of experience in investment management, Pius has played a transformative role in reshaping Africa's financial landscape. Under his leadership, Nabo Capital has grown significantly, managing over $200 million in assets and facilitating investment opportunities for institutional clients across the US, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Pius's strategic insights have positioned Nabo Capital as a trusted partner for investors looking to tap into Africa's high-growth opportunities. His expertise spans private equity, public markets, and alternative investments, with a keen focus on wealth creation and financial empowerment. Before Pius joined Nabo Capital, he was a key player in the transformation of Centum's investment company, one of Africa's largest investment firms. He was instrumental in developing and executing the very famous Centum 2.0 strategy, which propelled the company from a $60 million investment firm to managing over $1.8 billion in assets. His leadership helped drive Centum's expansion into new markets, creating substantial value for shareholders. At Nabo Capital, Pius has continued his legacy of excellence by building a team of investment professionals dedicated to delivering superior financial solutions. His ability to identify market trends, structure investment vehicles, and optimize portfolio performance has earned him recognition as a leader in the investment space. Beyond his corporate success, Pius is a highly sought-after speaker and financial coach. He has delivered keynote addresses at international investment summits, where he passionately advocates for Africa's untapped economic potential. And this is why we have him today as our speaker, to help us as he shares his knowledge in the investment space. His engaging and insightful talks have inspired business leaders, policymakers, and investors to explore opportunities in the continent's financial markets. Pius is particularly committed to financial literacy and empowerment, often mentoring young professionals and entrepreneurs on investment strategies, wealth building, and economic resilience. His ability to simplify complex financial concepts makes him a compelling educator in the finance sector. While Pius is a distinguished financial leader, he considers his greatest achievement to be his family. He is a devoted husband and father of 5 children, a role that has shaped his leadership philosophy. His deep-rooted values of integrity, discipline, and responsibility extend beyond his professional life into his personal commitments. Balancing the demands of running a major investment firm with being a husband and father has given him a unique perspective on long-term planning, stewardship, and financial values he integrates into his work. His faith is also central to his life, and he is known for his spiritual grounding, earning him the nickname Resident Bishop amongst his colleagues. Pius's journey is a testament to visionary leadership, financial acumen, and unwavering commitment to impact. So whether guiding investors, mentoring young professionals, or nurturing his family, he leads with wisdom, humility, and a passion for excellence. He has continued to shape Africa's investment landscape. Pius remains dedicated to building wealth that transcends generations, not just for his clients, but for the broader African economy. His legacy is one of purpose-driven leadership, innovation, and financial empowerment. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Pius to take the mic and take us through this session.
Thank you, Mrs. Moshiri. I was wondering who you're introducing. Sorry, 1 second. We need to. It's a decliner. Hi. Yeah, but you need to mute it. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I have a technical problem here. One second.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. It's a Friday. And I know I'm standing between many people and their Furahi Day. So I want to just kick in right in. Today we are talking on the subject of how to build financial resilience for women in tech. And I know that we have also another group of people who are joining us on TikTok Live. So I can see quite a number of people joining in, more than what I can see here. But let's start. This conversation actually started it yesterday on TikTok, and I was asking the question, imagine if you suddenly lose your job today, no severance pay, no warning, and just an email saying, thank you very much for your service. Would you comfortably survive for the next 6 months without a paycheck? And I have received a lot of feedback between yesterday evening and today, and I want us to continue with this conversation. And I also want to recognize the very many people who've joined here, especially the women in technology. We are honoring you today. I know I'm in the company of very brilliant people, trailblazing women in tech, innovators, problem solvers, and game changers. Yet when it comes to financial resilience, we are all challenged. We all struggle to build a financial safety net. But don't worry, today is about challenging that. It's about changing that. So I want to share a very personal story that is very close to my heart about a colleague of mine that was called Mike. Mike was one of the first certified actuaries in Kenya, a rare and highly respected profession. He worked at a top investment company, earning a 6-figure salary. Actuarial science was among the highest paying jobs then. And Mike had secured his place in it through sheer brilliance and hard work. Born and raised in the humble surroundings of Budalangi, Mike was a star in his village. His intelligence and determination earned him scholarships to one of the Kenya's top high schools, that is Tarehe, before he went on to study at the prestigious Cambridge University in London. He loved his job. He loved his family. He loved his community. And perhaps just as passionately, he loved his football club, Chelsea FC. Every Wednesday without fail, he played football at the University of Nairobi grounds, a tradition he upheld religiously. But one fateful Wednesday, in March 2006, something changed. That night, Chelsea suffered a brutal defeat to a fierce rival. Knowing Mike's loud personality, all of us in the office, we could not wait for him to come in the morning. It was our turn to taunt him. But when morning arrived, Mike was nowhere to be seen. That night, as 9 a.m. passed, then 10 a.m., we now started getting concerned. Mike was never late without excuse. Finally, at exactly 12 noon, came the words that him is true, then I do not have long to live. That's what he said. If what the doctors are saying is true, then I do not have long to live. We gathered around, horrified, around his desk. Mike explained that the previous night he had experienced unbearable sharp pains and was rushed to Aga Khan Hospital. After a series of tests, the doctors delivered the devastating news: stage 4 liver cancer. Mike was only 39 years old, a young man, a husband, a father, a pillar to many. The news was too much to bear. In the following months, Mike fought hard. He tried conventional treatments. He explored herbal medicine, but the disease moved too fast. By July 2006, we were in Budalangi, standing by his graveside, saying goodbye to a beloved friend and colleague. At the funeral, we came face to face with a reality much more heartbreaking than we had imagined. Mike's mother, a woman who had given birth to 10 sons, on that day, she was burying her 9th son. The only surviving son, the eldest, was mentally ill. Mike, in his greatness, had quietly shouldered the burden of his extended family. We discovered that he had been supporting multiple children and widows left behind by his late brothers. He was the anchor. He was the provider. He was the hope for his family. We knew we had to do something. Upon return to work, our first agenda was simple. How could we, as his former colleagues, ensure that Mike's family would be taken care of? Mike's beneficiary form showed that his final benefits were to be split equally among his wife, his mother, and 2 minor children. But we saw the risks ahead. If his elderly mother received a large sum of money in cash, what would happen if the community around her found out? Would she be safe? Would the money last? Those were the questions in our mind. With careful consideration and discussion with his wife and mother, we decided to establish 3 trusts. One for his mother and one for each of his children. His wife was okay, so he gave her the money. The goal was simple: preserve the funds and ensure that they serve their true purpose, which is education and long-term stability for his children. We projected the tuition fees for his 2 young children and structured investments that would cover school expenses without depleting the principal. Year after year, the money would fund their education without fail. Fast forward 19 years later, and today, Mike's first son not only graduated from university, but also interned at Centum before launching his career in IT. His daughter, once a toddler at the time when Mike was passing on in nursery school, has now completed high school. His mother, the woman who once faced a future of uncertainty, has been able to oversee the education of multiple grandchildren, all because of one decision that we made nearly 2 decades ago. But here is the most remarkable part. The principal amount that Mike left behind remains untouched. In fact, it has grown over time, sustained by the very interest it generates. The impact of this structured, intentioned investment has outlived the man himself. It's as if Mike is still alive today, 19 years forward. So I've been in investment for a long time. I've had many successes. Also, I've had scars of failures. But amongst all my successes, this one story, even though the amounts were not huge, has completely transformed my life. And I asked myself, why do this for people when they die? Why can't we do this for people when they are still alive? And that brought me to the concept of investing with purpose. What really changed about Mike's investment is that we purposed it for education for his children. And those funds continue even today untouched, even though they have paid school fees for these children. So we began this concept of investing with purpose. We don't pride ourselves in just helping people to make money. What really touches us is when we help people to achieve tangible financial goals. And the first one, so there are four types of portfolio that you must have for you to achieve financial resilience. We go back to the question. If today you were to lose your job suddenly, could you survive for the next 6 months without your paycheck? And there are these 4 types of portfolios that you must put in place. You must build from ground up for you to achieve that financial resilience. And the first one, let me go straight to the first one. The first one is called a lifestyle portfolio. The lifestyle portfolio is your first line of defense. If money were oxygen, then a lifestyle portfolio is your oxygen tank. It keeps you breathing when everything else fails. This is the portfolio that funds your daily life, ensuring that you're not living from paycheck to paycheck. So how do you put together a lifestyle portfolio? And I'm going to give you 3 secrets. Secret number 1, save at least a third of your income. Let me repeat that. Save at least a third of your income. And I know I'll get a pushback on this, but this is the target. Save at least a third of your income. If you can't, at least save something. When you see the idea of budgeting here will then have to change. Don't budget, then save. Save, then budget. Let me repeat that. Save, then budget. Decide what to save and invest, and then budget the balance. That's what rich folks do. The rest of us, we like budgeting and then we save the balance. The idea is the opposite. Save and then invest. The secret number 2, sweep all those savings to a money market fund. Sweep all those savings to a money market fund. A money market fund is a place we park cash before assigning a long-term financial goal. So it's a temporary investment. The other thing that I like about a money market fund is that it is not easily accessible like the cash in the bank. So today is Friday. If you go out, you're having fun, and you run out of money, you cannot go to an ATM and withdraw from your from your money market fund. So that ensures that your savings remain safe and inaccessible as they should. The other thing I like about a money market fund is that it ensures no idle money. If you leave money in the bank, you are saving. But if you put money in the money market fund, you're investing. Your money starts earning immediately. So the key number 2 is sweep all your savings from the bank to a money market account. The third key is transfer your money market account to your money market investment to a lifestyle portfolio. Now, here's the big thing. Remember, money market is a temporary place for putting money. It's a place you're parking money temporarily. So you sweep the money that is in a money market account and you take it to a lifestyle portfolio. Now, the goal is to generate passive cash flows to replace your salary. The goal of a lifestyle portfolio is to replace your salary. So if you earn 100,000 per month and you want to replace your salary with investment income at 12% per annum, you will need 10 million. I know that may have passed a few people, so let me repeat it again. If you earn 100,000 per month and you want to replace your salary with investment income at 12%, you will need to invest 10 million shillings. If you earn 500,000 per month, you need to invest at least 50 million shillings today at 12% per annum to sustain withdrawals of 500 per month indefinitely. So, in short, if you earn 100,000 today, you need 10 million to replace your salary. If you earn 500,000 a month, you need 50 million to replace your salary if where you invest you'll be earning 12%. The other question we need to ask ourselves when you're putting together a lifestyle portfolio is, how long will it take you to put together your lifestyle portfolio? Because many of us don't have the 50 million. Many of us don't have the 10 million. So if you save a third of your income, if you save a third of your 100,000, it will take you almost 12 years for you to accumulate the 10 million. If you save a third of the 500,000, which is about 167,000 per month, it will take you about 11 years and 7 months for you to accumulate 50 million, which is what you need to replace your salary. Which means if you're 40 years today, you can replace your salary just before your 52nd birthday. If you are 30 years today, you can replace your salary just before your 42nd birthday. If you're 50 years today, we are pushing it, yeah? You can replace your salary by your before your 62nd birthday, right? So that means you'll have completed the first step to building a financial resilience, by your 52nd birthday. So you can see time is of the essence. Some of us who are in our 50s, we start wishing if we started earlier. But this is my message to you. Time is of the essence. the best time is to start now. Don't start wallowing on what you could have done 10 years ago. So the first stage to building financial resilience is to have a lifestyle portfolio. And a lifestyle portfolio is designed to replace your current salary. And I know we're talking salary also just to mean also business income. Even businesses do fail. So don't just assume because you are self-employed, you have a good business, it is working very well, that you are safe. No, you're still subject to economic turbulence, like where we are today with Trump coming in and making some very harsh policies against Africa. So anything is possible. A lifestyle portfolio is not just for those people who are earning a salary. It's also for those people who are in business. Now, once you're done with the lifestyle portfolio, we are happy, but we have not arrived yet. There's still another portfolio we need to build. It's called a security portfolio. A security portfolio is your shield against uncertainty. A warrior never battles without armor. Your security portfolio is your financial armor. It protects your lifestyle portfolio from the big disruptors of life. So you build this thing called lifestyle portfolio. You need to ring fence it. You need to protect it, because the big disruptors of life will be targeting your lifestyle portfolio. What are the big disruptors of life? Education, home ownership, medical emergencies, and other forms of emergencies. Why education? How many of you have heard their parents say, I used to pay so much school fees for my children. Now I don't, but I don't know where the money went. It's because they were paying school fees during their prime years. But now their earning power has declined. So we spend most of our prime years paying for school fees, and then we retire and we no longer have that cash flow. So education is a very big disruptor of life. The other one is home ownership. To build a house today, if you don't have 20 million shillings, I am not sure where you're going to be building. You got to go to the periphery of Nairobi, and security becomes an issue. So home ownership, how do you accumulate 20 million shillings? Even buying a piece of land, half an acre, will cost you that 20 million shillings. You haven't even built. So home ownership is a big disruptor of life. In fact, most of our parents who did their very best, they've only achieved two things. They took us to good schools, and they took a mortgage, and they paid just before they retired or by the time they retired. There is nothing else to show for their long careers. So home ownership is a big disruptor. Medical emergencies. Today, a patient in Nairobi Hospital, ICU, can spend 500,000 a day. So even if you have a 50 million cover, medical cover, you come from those international employers. If you have that good cover, it takes only 100 days to completely deplete 50 million cover. And suddenly you are walking through the doors of Kenyatta National Hospital against all your expectations. And you're a high-flying career person. So medical emergencies, the number one cause for family bankruptcies in the US, at least what is on record, is medical emergencies. So in the security portfolio, we need to build a few funds. The first fund is an education fund. An education fund makes sure you build a portfolio the same way you build a lifestyle portfolio, but this time the purpose is education. So if your children if you have to pay, let's say what, if you pay, let's say 500,000 per month, let's give that example. If you pay 500,000 per month, which is 1.5 in a term, you still need 50 million portfolio for you to be able to pay that kind of money. In other words, an education fund will help you to pay for your school, for the school fees of your children without you going to the pocket. But we'll go through the same process we went through when building a lifestyle portfolio. Home ownership. If you want to build a home that is worth 50 million shillings, we have seen it may take you almost 12 years if you're saving 167,000 every month for you to build a portfolio of 50 million shillings. And then you'll just build a house without any interest. If you go borrow a mortgage of 50 million shillings, your capital outlay will be somewhere in the 80 to 90 million shillings. That is almost doubling your initial cost of the house. So that's why home ownership is very expensive and can be a big disruptor of life. Medical emergencies. Even though you have a very good medical cover, please build a portfolio assigned for medical emergencies. So that if you do these 3 or 4 portfolios under security portfolio, you build your security portfolio. And this helps you to protect. If any of those things happen, you do not have to dip your fingers in the lifestyle portfolio for you to fund those things. You know, I see this quite often because I run many portfolios for customers. Someone's mother gets sick and they put aside everything else. They dedicate all their portfolio to making sure that that person gets the best medical attention. That is what we call a disruptor. So a security portfolio will help you to protect your lifestyle portfolio. Now, if you build a lifestyle portfolio and a security portfolio, then you achieve what we call true financial independence. I hope I'm still with all of you. I hope I'm not going technical here. Yeah. Yep. So once you build your lifestyle portfolio and you build your security portfolio, you've achieved true financial independence. Those 2 steps involve a lot of tightening the economic belt. Now you start entering what you call aspirational portfolio. An aspirational portfolio is about enjoying your life. It's about rewarding yourself. It's about moving from your first house, which was not in the best part of town, to the green leafy suburbs. So you can get your second home through your aspirational portfolio. You can upgrade your car. You have been driving Toyota for so long, you have really your car is old because you're building these 2 portfolios. Now it's time to upgrade your car. So the aspirational portfolio, which is the 3rd level of portfolio, is about upgrading your life. But very soon, you also discover that you can only eat 1 plate at a time, that you can only drive 1 car at a time, that you can only be in 1 house at a time. And suddenly, this question of what impact will I leave behind beyond my wife and my children and my close family becomes real for you. So aspirational portfolio also ushers you into the other half of it, which is philanthropy. Many of us, we support our families. The people who are in diaspora, they support their families here. And some of us, we also continue supporting our less privileged family members. And now here, we put together a philanthropic portfolio that is dedicated to helping those people. You can imagine for someone who supports their mother every month with, let's say, 20,000 shillings, you've made their mother becomes a dependent to them. If anything happens to them, just in case of disability, in case of even death, God forbid, their mother moves from here to here. So you need to break this dependency. And that's where the second part of the aspirational portfolio, which addresses philanthropy, it becomes real. So you set up a portfolio and you say, I'm putting together this portfolio to help my mother or to educate the children left behind by a relative, or to some people are very passionate about helping young people. Some of my customers are very passionate about funding ideas from young people. So you say, every profit that comes from this portfolio, I will not channel it to me. I will channel it to helping these people. So, for example, if you send your mother $200 every month or 20,000 shillings every month, you need probably a portfolio of about 4 million shillings. With that portfolio, you can be sending your mother 20,000 shillings every month without you dipping into your pocket or affecting your initial investment of 4 million shillings, which means you still own the 4 million shillings. But what you're really giving your mother is the fruit that comes from that 4 million shillings. And that's the power of a philanthropy, a philanthropy portfolio, which is under aspirational. So you can see you have moved from tightening your economic belt to now fully enjoying life. And I really, I'm really passionate about people enjoying life. Investment is not about suffering. It's not just about um, uh, being frugal. Investment is about paying the price today so that you can enjoy tomorrow. So in that time for enjoying, it really comes through with the aspirational portfolio. It's also an aspirational portfolio. Also, I've seen some people, they set up a fund to fund their travels every year. I've seen a group of women who are 50 years, who when they reach 50 years old, they said, we have sacrificed so much. We have been, all we have been doing is about our family. And they came together and they said, every year during summer, we take a cruise ship and they put together a portfolio. So they start saving, and come June, they withdraw the money, they do their cruise ship, and then they come back. And it doesn't affect anything else. It doesn't affect all the other portfolios. So there are many ways you can swing this aspirational portfolio so that you can fully enjoy your life. Now, if the last and final portfolio is called a legacy portfolio. Now, I've been very privileged to work with some of the wealthy families in Kenya and abroad. And one of my shocking realization was the question of who should inherit me and how they should inherit me. And what has saddened me many times is to see an 80-year-old wealthy man still reporting to work every day by 8 or 9 a.m. because there's no one else who can do what he's been doing, what he's been building for the last 50 plus years. And it made me think very deeply about this question. Who should inherit me and how will they inherit me? And I realized that the assumption that my children will inherit me could be wrong. In fact, I should treat it as wrong today because they have their own purpose. They have their own aspirations. God has called them, they may call them very differently from how I've been called. So it's very important then that we ask ourselves these two questions. Who will inherit you and how will they inherit you? For those people who've listened to me, you've probably heard me say, the best inheritance you can leave to your children is cash flows, not assets. If you leave them with assets without cash flows, they will still sell the assets because what they really need is cash flows. If you leave them with assets which are generating cash flows, then You don't have to tie them down to manage the assets. The assets can be managed by a professional. If it is real estate, it can be managed by real estate professionals. If it is financial assets, it can be managed by experts like Nabu Capital. If it's whatever it is, it can be managed by experts. But the cash flow that come from those assets, you say, distribute these cash flows to my children in this proportion. That allows your children to pursue their purpose. It allows your children to be the best that they can be, and also to make the choice if they want to join you in whatever you have been building for the last so many years. So the other big lesson I have learned under this legacy portfolio is the need to separate ourselves from assets. With good intentions, we buy assets in our own names. For example, you buy assets in your child's name because you're like, this child, I want to bequeath them. But those children are mortals. What if they die before you? Yeah. What will happen to those assets because they are in someone's name? And that's where family trust comes in. So how do you inherit? How does your wealth transition from you to generations that come after you? A family trust. I'm a big proponent of family trust for several reasons. Number one, a family trust will keep your family together because it means you do not have to divide land. You have 2 acres, you have 4 sons, you divide 2 acres into halves. Then your sons have 4 sons. Then they have to divide half an acre to 4 sons. At the end of the day, you are left with nothing. There is really nothing to divide. So, but with a family trust, the 2 acres goes to the family trust, and we don't have to divide. What matters is the cash flows that comes from the 2 acres. That's what the children will care most about. It's not about who owns the asset. But then it also forces your children and your future generations, they will have to be sitting down and talking about this thing that was left behind. So it keeps the family together, not divided. And the other thing, and there's a lot of things I can say about this, but we don't have enough time. The other thing I can say is, I've seen, if you have 3 properties, each worth $1 billion shillings, and you have 3 sons, and you, out of very good heart, you give your one son one asset that is worth $1 billion, another one like that. At the end of the day, the 3 properties are not the same because one is in Nairobi, another one is Wajir, another one is in Mombasa. They will say you favor the one in Nairobi. So there is no property that is the same. You avoid these opportunities for conflict and friction in the family by having a family trust. And that's a conversation for another day. So a legacy portfolio is to ensure that you transition well to future generations without much friction. I have to say this about a family trust. If wealth is left in a family trust and the person who started the family trust dies today, there will be no going to law courts. There is no probation process. Tomorrow, that family continues running as if that person was still alive. There is no court process because everything has already been preempted. And that's the beauty about it. Who wants to send their children to the law courts after they are long gone? So a legacy portfolio is really the apex of financial resilience. It is financial resilience transcending beyond your own life. And that's the whole idea. What impact will you leave behind? So that is what we call investing with purpose. Investing with purpose is the deliberate alignment of your money with your life goals. This idea of how much return can I get has confused us all. So we are chasing returns and we have forgotten to build portfolios in a systematic fashion so that we can answer the big questions in our lives. So if there's one thing that I don't want anyone to forget, is the concept of investing with purpose, the deliberate alignment of your money with your goals. So I want to change the question that we began with. If you lost your job today, how long could you survive comfortably? I want to change it to, what if you could walk away from your job anytime you wanted and still be financially free? I think that's what we all want. Thank you very much. I want to return it back to our moderator, Mrs. Moshiri.
Thank you so much, Pius. Really appreciate the talk you've had with us. Thank you so much for telling us about all the portfolios we should start thinking about. For those who have not started, you've talked about a lifestyle portfolio, you've talked about a security portfolio, then aspirational portfolio, followed by a philanthropic portfolio we want to give. As we receive, we want to give as well. And finally, the legacy portfolio. I think that has been quite informative for all of us. Now we cater to different segments of women in technology. We have women who are young ladies who are students and are still growing and learning in the tech space. And then we have professionals who are business owners and are running startups in the tech space as well. And then we have the ones who are in corporate, so they're employed in tech related work or positions, and they are running their jobs in that manner. So we have all sorts of women that we cater to, and I think this has been quite informative to all of us and the women that we are serving as WITIA. Now, I can imagine there are questions. I've not seen any questions in the chat. I'm not sure if our listeners have listened, they've heard everything, and they're like, yeah, fantastic, we understand everything, and we are good to go. I would have loved to see some questions there, but I do have several questions to ask. So if you could indulge me. Number one is how can one build financial resilience while dealing with economic uncertainty or job loss or job insecurity? How can one begin to think about and build resilience, financial resilience?
It's a good question, and I do get it quite often. What if the foundation of building financial resilience is, first of all, to have an income. There must be money coming into your bank account. Now, if you don't have money coming into your bank account, then you need to answer the question, how do I cause money to come into my bank account? And I get this challenge all the time, but guys, I don't have a job. But I say, but opportunities are everywhere. If you really, really want to make money, you only need to look around and see the problems that surround you. Let me give an example. For those people who drive, occasionally you have seen these street boys who come, they pour water on your windscreen and they wipe it and they don't even ask you whether to do it. At the end of it, what happens? You feel like you owe them. You feel like you owe them. Why? Because they've added value even though you did not ask for it. And I know many people are probably not very happy about the street boys doing what they do, but it demonstrates something. Because in the same way, if you forgot to wash your car today in the morning, and then you went to your office, you worked the whole day, and then you're going back. As you're going back home, you go back to the parking, and you see your car is sparkling clean. What will be the question you'll be asking? Who washed my car? And when you get to know who washed your car, you feel you owe them. So the idea of earning money is actually not difficult. The idea of earning money is asking, to whom can I add value? How can I add value to Eunice? What problem is Eunice facing? there are lots of people now who are doing errands for offices because they discovered we are always sending people. We always want to move one thing from here to there. So, Joyce, my simple answer is don't say I don't have income. Ask, how can I add value to the people around me? That is just a starting point. Don't worry. It is to clean up people's windows. When you do it, people will give you 10 bob, but that 10 bob will teach you how to make 100. That 100 will teach you how to make 1,000. How that 1,000 will teach you how to make 1,000,000. So the concept of earning is underpinned by the concept of adding value. So start adding value and the cash flows will be looking for you.
Okay, thank you
I
so
hope
much.
I've answered your question.
Yes, yes, you have. Thank you so much. Now I'll go to the questions from our participants. The first question is, does the 1/3 savings include pensions, or does pension come out of the 2/3?
That's a very good question again. Now, pension is mandatory. The government insists that anybody who is employed full-time must be deducted a certain percentage of their salary, and that is sent towards their pension. And they get to access that when they are 60 or 65 years. It's mandatory, but pension has one weakness. It is decided by the employer, not by the employee. So let's go back to the example. I am earning 100,000 a month, and I want to replace my salary. If I save 1/3 of my salary, I'll be able to replace my 100,000 on my salary by my 11th month, 11 years and 7th month anniversary. Now, that's 1/3. For pension, it's about 7.5%. It's less than 1/3, which explains why it has been proven that pension, though, for those people who are retired, one of the surprises they get, and very unpleasant surprise, is that pension is only able to fund 1/3 or so of their lifestyle after retirement. So many of them become dependents upon their children because they thought that pension would suffice. So a lifestyle portfolio complements the pension. So you can take 1/3 and say, out of the 1/3, my pension has already been deducted. How much is remaining for me to fulfill my 1/3? Because the less you save, the longer it takes. So the 1/3 should be inclusive of your pension, because your pension is not enough by far.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. I hope the lady who asked the question, that is satisfactory. I see another question that has come in. Someone is saying that these are great tips. Laura says that these are great tips. Could you kindly suggest genuine money market funds, especially for people who do not have a regular income?
Sorry, repeat that question again.
This is from Laura. She says these are great tips to you. And then could you kindly suggest genuine money market funds, especially for people who do not have a regular income?
Money market funds are not for people who have regular income. Money market funds are for everyone, whether you have regular income or irregular income. Again, let's be very clear, what is the purpose of a money market fund? Money market fund is not a final destination for your money and should never be. Money market fund is a place you park your money as you decide what purpose to assign that money to, or what financial goal to assign to your money. So if I'm sweeping 100,000 into my money market fund today, I'm saying I don't want to see that thing in my bank account because it can develop legs and disappear. So it goes to my money market fund and it starts earning immediately. While it is earning there, now I sit down with my financial advisor and we assess where I am. Am I a candidate for lifestyle portfolio or a security portfolio? If I'm still in a lifestyle portfolio stage, I still have not been able to replace my salary, my financial advisor will tell me, Piers, we still have the goal of accumulating 10 million shillings so that you can be able to get 100,000 every month indefinitely without depleting your 10 million. So that's the purpose of a money market fund. Now, which money market funds should I recommend? They are all very similar because we invest in the same things. We are regulated by the same capital markets authority. The only thing that really makes a difference is how do you access it? What are the minimums? And you know, Chums, we have Chums. Let me talk about Chums. Chums allows people to invest as low as 5 shillings. So your M-Pesa balance is 1405 and it tells you, why don't you just put the 5 bob in Chums and you put in your PIN and off goes your 5 bob. It starts earning interest. So you can invest as low as that. So there are people in high school, people in university, people who are in low income jobs, people who are, I don't like the word hustling. This is a very good product for them. The people who are investing 1,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, 20,000 shillings, Chums is fantastic for them. But then there are those people who earn 1 million. They can, through a deal, or they can be able to save 1 million bob. Those people cannot be catered for in Chums. They need to come to a money market fund like Nabo Capital, where people of that profile are catered for. So it's about also just understanding the minimums and what, not just the interest, because the interest there is not much difference between the interest. But most important, I want to say this. I always say your hard-earned money should always be put with a person that you feel most comfortable. You really need to sleep, to be at peace when you're sleeping. So look at the character of the people behind the brand, because it's not about the brand, it's about the people. What values do they stand for? And I invest in behind values, not behind returns. That would be my number one advice. Yeah, back to you.
All right, thank you. Are there any specific ones besides Chums you could recommend?
There are many, and that's why I'm saying I don't, and my as a profession, I don't want to be biased because naturally I would recommend Nabo because
Okay.
I am conflicted. But I don't want to say which one. I want to say what criteria should you use to choose one.
Okay, thank you for that.
The people behind it
Yeah,
are you aligned in values? That's
right.
most important to me. Yeah.
Thank you, Pius. There's a lady called Eunice from Ilri who's asking about the legacy portfolio you've talked about. She says it's interesting and the inclusion criteria would be defined to what extent. So I think her question is, to what extent do you define the inclusion criteria in the legacy portfolio? Generational issues, and how wide or how narrow can you go to include in terms of the generations? Yes.
Oh, the the beauty about a family trust, it can preempt 100 years from today. So you can include. The families I've discussed up with them up to including the 3rd generation, children who are still in school. But even after doing that, they still, it can still be be updated later on to include even more generations. So let me say this. The best time to put together a family trust is now, not when you're old. Because there's something we call maturing with a trust. When you start your family trust now, you have enough time to see the people you want to be with and their behaviors, and things will also change. The people you trust, because the reason we call a trust is because it has trustees. There are people you have to trust to be able to execute your wishes. So why people have families in Kenya have had problems because they form them too late in the day. Just before they die, they start putting together a family trust. So the initiator does not have enough time to mature with the trust. As you're maturing with the trust, then you can have more time to observe on who to include and who not to include.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that answer. I see someone is asking if we can get a recording of this. I'm sure we will send to because you registered with your email addresses, so we'll be able to share the recording. So Elizabeth is asking, does one focus on one portfolio or can one handle more than one portfolio at a go? For example, is it okay to handle both security and lifestyle portfolio simultaneously?
Very, very good question. Ideally, and I like saying this, investing, and the why many people have been investing and losing at the same time is because they invest with no strategy, with no direction. Investing is like building a house. When you're building a house, you must build from the foundation. You go to walling, you go to roofing, before you go into interiors. Can you build foundation and do the walling at the same time? It's not advisable. I'll give you some conflicts that I have observed. A young person has gotten a fantastic job in technology. They're earning lots of money. They don't have a lifestyle portfolio, but they drive a sports Range Rover. Now, if that job comes to an end today, the distance from where they fall to where they land is so much that they go into depression.
Yeah.
Because they mixed up the pillars. So whether you are a billionaire or you live in the slum, you must start from the foundation, which is the lifestyle portfolio. So I would advise that. But life happens. You have children who are going to school, and you still are not okay with the lifestyle portfolio. Those are the two that I find ourselves doing them. You're building a lifestyle portfolio and an education fund at the same time. That's how far we've been able to stretch it. So unless you have a lot of money, the biggest challenge in building the portfolios is not us, is the money that you're able to save. Just saying you have to put aside a third of your salary is very stretching for many people. So that dictates the pace at which we can be able to build, how fast you can build your portfolios, and whether we can handle multiple or not. Yeah, at the same time.
All right. That's very sound advice.
Yeah.
We cannot start building a house from the walls. All right. This is another question here. Could you kindly advise, should we say the economy is facing a recession and everything has collapsed and there is hyperinflation and money has lost its value? What other investment vehicles should we rely on for safety? So I guess the question is, what is inflation proof? What kind of investment is inflation proof?
I had someone asked the late Jim Brown a question: how will the next 10 years look like? And it was a very it was one of the huge corporates in America during a strategy session, and he said the next 10 years will be just like the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It will have opportunities and challenges. So we should not give ourselves excuses because of what is going on in the economy. This has been like this for years, and it will continue to be like this. Having said that, we as investment professionals, we actually get more excited during crisis than during stable times. Why? Because the most money is made during crisis. During COVID, we got COVID billionaires. When everybody else was running away, there are people who said, I see an opportunity to put a mask on every face. So the question is to ask ourselves, where is money going in these times of volatility? There is always a place where money is flowing to. Just align yourself with that. So last year was a very difficult year, 2024. It was the first time in my career we were really tested as a country with the question, is Kenya government capable of repaying debt? We were staring at the possibility of defaulting, which meant certain repercussions, like the government saying everybody's bank account, a third of the money in your bank is gone. A third of your investment in government treasuries is gone. No negotiation. All the interest that you've been earning on government securities is gone. That is what we were staring at. But what did the government try to do to counter that? They started increasing interest rates so that they can attract money to come into the country. And for the first time in my career, again, I've never seen this before. We had money market funds trading at 17% per annum. I couldn't believe it. It was literally free money. You can invest in a short-term security and earn 17, 18%. Unbelievable. So today, that instrument has come down to less than 10%. So we are now looking back and saying, those days were not so bad. But yet, that's what we are going through. Now we are going through a low interest rate environment. We've had long conversations because at the beginning of the year, economists, in the financial sector, we are asking ourselves, what's the outlook for 2025? And we expect it will come packed with its own challenges. But within those challenges, we are also foreseeing opportunities. So for me, I'd say, and not box you to do one thing or the other, but is to dance with the economy. Dance with the economy. There will be opportunities in other places when other sectors are non-performing.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Pius. And I want to thank you so much for giving us your time and taking us through this session. We are almost 15 minutes beyond time. So I'd like to call this webinar to a close. And I would like to thank all our listeners today, everyone who attended the webinar, for showing up, for asking questions. I hope that it was insightful. And we will be sharing the recording with you via email. And I'd also like to mention that we are accepting membership as WITIA. So you can go visit our website, www.witia, that's WITIA.Africa, and become a member. We have different categories of membership for professionals, for corporates, and for students. So you'll be able to see all the information there. We have other events coming up, so stay tuned. You can follow us on our social media pages, and we'll continue to give you nuggets of information. Every month we'll be hosting a webinar, so you're most welcome. Tell your friends about this. If you know other women in technology, we're very keen to build capacity and to advocate for more women to join the tech space and grow in the tech space. So thank you all very much, and I wish you a very good afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you, Joyce.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Pius. Thank you, Joyce.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ubakishe tukam